Hey everybody, this is Andrew Cummings here with one more Missionary Max moment. If you're new here, what this is all about, I'm the author of a book called Missionary Max and the Jungle Princess. This is the book. It's available on Amazon.com in both paperback format and also in Kindle format. So you can definitely check that out. It's a missionary adventure. I've been doing these videos for a couple weeks now, just talking about different aspects of the book. Maybe giving the readers a little backstory. You read it, you want to know some more information. You had some unanswered questions. I'm not going to answer all of your unanswered questions because there's more books to come, so you can you can anticipate that. But there are some things, some backstory information that I can fill in, and so we've done that. You can check back through the other videos for some other of that information. Today I want to talk a little bit about bad guys. Every good story has a villain, okay, and our story is no exception. And actually there are two. There's a father and son. And in this first book, Missionary Max and the Jungle Princess, we deal more with the son, whose name is Emílio Santana. But the son, we learn, even in this first book, we learn that he's kind of controlled. He's under the thumb of his father, whose name is George, or in Portuguese, Jorge Santana. And so the real mastermind behind the whole thing is Jorge Santana. Now, in the second book, the one that is all written, currently being edited, and hopefully be released next month. That's the plan, folks. Release the second book next month. So just prepare in your budget to be able to pick up the next book as soon as it's released next month. Anyway, in the next book, the father, the real brains behind the evil operation of the Santana family is much more in evidence. He's much more. He appears much more in the book, so we get to learn a little bit about him. What I want to do today was share some of my mental processes in coming up with this guy. First of all, I modeled him after two real life characters. The first character is someone most people probably that are listening to this, if you're all politically engaged, will know. The first guy who was the model for this, for Jorge Santana, the bad guy, the villain of the Missionary Max saga, is this guy right here. If you're not familiar with this guy, his name is George Soros, and I even took his first name, George. And this guy is a mega financier. Of course, you can go to Wikipedia and look up all about him. But he finances all different kinds of liberal organizations and organizations that are just about against anything that Christians are for, and for everything that Christians are against. And he uses his incredible wealth to do that. And he's just a. I mean, just look at him. I mean, you look at him and you can picture him going, my evil plan is a success.
How about no?
And he's been wildly successful in fronting money for politicians who I consider to be traitors to the very country that they come from, and so on. So anyway, my first model for the guy, for the character is this guy, and I modeled this mostly because of the global aspect of Jorge Santana's operations. Now that doesn't come out in the first book. I'm already kind of spilling the beans a little bit for the second book, because in the second book we realized that it's not Missionary Max and his friends realized that it's not just Emílio Santana, it's George Santana, and George Santana has designs that are much bigger than just the island of Cabrito. So you want to keep that in mind, and that comes into play kind of in the second book, and this global goal, this global plot that is being hatched by Jorge Santana, and kind of like the global plot and the global goals of this man, George Soros. So anyway, he's my model, my first model. Second model is a little more local because remember I said I modeled the city of Santo Expedito after São Luís, the island, actually the whole island of Cabrito, after the island of São Luís where I live, where my wife and my family and myself, where we serve as missionaries. And that particular island has been under the control of this guy for decades.
No!
Okay, now, if you're Brazilian, you know who this guy is. This guy's name is José Sarney. José Sarney is a politician. He rose up. He started out as a journalist and then entered into politics and went up through the ranks of politics in the state of Maranhão and got up and was governor. It was mayor of the city of São Luís, governor of the state of Maranhão, and then became president of Brazil. And has held just about every position, senator and then president of Brazil, and including he's still involved in politics. And in the state of Maranhão, he and his family have controlled that state for decades, literally decades. When I got there, inclusive, that's a little Portuguese story. When I got there, his daughter was the governor of the state, and it was her second time being the governor of the state. She's been mayor, and then in these recent elections, one of his surrogates was put up to be governor against another guy, and the other guy won. So everyone on the island and everyone in the state was excited because the governor was not part of the oligarchy of the family of the Sarney family, was not indebted to this guy right here, but the guy that beat him and won was a communist. So it's kind of a mixed blessing. Ooh, the Sarney family's out. The guy that's in is a communist. Oh, great. Anyway. So, but I guess it's a good thing that the Sarney family is, and these guys. I mean, if you go around the state of Maranhão at all, and start listening, these guys start telling you stories, and if half of these stories are true, this family is guilty of all different kinds of, I mean, from voter fraud all the way up to murder. It's the stories that are told of this guy and how he has maintained himself in power and his family in power, and how they've controlled. And another thing is when you go to the island, Brazil is a state that's growing by leaps, or is a country that's growing by leaps and bounds. But the state of Maranhão, in many aspects, their infrastructure is backwards, and it kind of reflects the island of Cabrito a little bit. Their infrastructure is backwards. The roads and everything, just their political system is backwards. There's a lot of stuff that's just not up to snuff as far as the rest of Brazil goes, and it's because this family has been in control, and so their whole goal is to keep control and not to move the state forward. So anyway, that's and I don't know of anyone from the city of people might say, well, you're from the United States, you're talking trash about the city of São Luís. I don't know anyone who's from the city of São Luís who would say differently. Tremendously unpopular, this man in the city of São Luís. So I feel pretty confident in saying the things that I'm saying here. And just to say that those two guys, so George Santana, who's the great villain, and his son Emílio, who's kind of his surrogate in the stories, these two big villains are kind of a combination of George Soros, who we as Americans are all familiar with, and we know and love, and then, of course, José Sarney, who the Brazilians are all familiar with and, of course, know and love. All right? So, I'm glad you've joined me on this little talk and this another little window into the fictional world of Missionary Max. We've got more coming up, more subjects to talk about. Sometime along, I'm not sure if it's going to be the next one, but sometime along, let's make it the next one, because I can do that. We're going to talk about the kind of the missionary philosophy that you find in Missionary Max. Missionary Max, of course, is not a missionary philosophy book. It's a missionary fiction book, but a lot of my own philosophy of missions actually comes out in this. So I'm going to talk about maybe a few points of those the next time we get together. So until then, have a great one. Keep reading. If you have not read Missionary Max, you're looking at this saying, hey, that sounds pretty interesting. Look at the links below the video on YouTube, and you'll see a link there for Amazon.com, which is and the link for where you can get the book, paperback or Kindle. All right? Until next time, have a good one. God bless. This is Andrew.